Exodus 20, verse 1 and 2. And God spoke all these words: I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Now, this month, we are entering into a new series called Take 10. Now, if you've ever heard that expression before, it's because you probably had a job before. And the idea of taking a 10 is taking a break in the midst of your working hour to refresh, to refocus, and to reprioritize and reorganize yourself to prepare yourself to give the best service, or to repost the snack that you ate during lunch on Instagram. Whatever you do to spend your 10 really oftentimes determine how you perform in your life. And here's the truth. God has also given us a 10. And as a matter of fact, this 10 was given to the people of Israel after God delivered them out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. And they were already on the way to Canaan, that was supposed to be rest. That was supposed to be the picture of rest. But I wonder if they missed the point, because the God who led them into Canaan is rest himself. Do you know that we were created for rest? We were created to be rested. We are created to be at peace. We were created to be one with God and to know that we are secured and loved and accepted. But however, if we have been raised in a society of slavery, it's very hard to find rest outside of work. And that was exactly the case of the people of Israel. And here they were in front of Mount Sinai, where God revealed himself in his glory. The people were terrified. They sent Moses up, and Moses went before the Lord in representing the people, when all of them actually could have been invited up before God and received this wonderful word of God together. And here God revealed himself, and God spoke all these words. Do you know that God is the Word? What the Bible is referring to is God revealed himself in that moment. What a powerful picture that is. Can you imagine God revealing himself in that moment? And Moses stood before God, and he heard God spoke. And God said, I am the Lord, your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I believe with all my heart that the beginning of rest is found in worship. Do you know that we were created for worship? And see, worship is not a question of how or what or when or what, because worship is not an event. Worship begins with who and why. And verse 2 lays it out very clearly when God says, I am the Lord your God. That's who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. That's why he's saying that I am your deliverer. I am your place of rest. I am your way out of slavery. I am freedom, and I'm standing here before you. And what I want to point out within this specific passage, that word, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. It would have been the same words used for a groom purchasing or putting a dowry for a bride. That he would tell her, I am your husband who have brought you out of your father's house and into my house. You are mine and I am yours. And it's a beautiful picture that God is inviting us into. That rest is found in first who and the relationship that we're sharing together with him. Do you know that there's no worship outside of intimacy? Worship outside of intimacy is called religion. And that is not worship at all, because this idea of worship is the idea of kissing towards. It is something that is shared between a husband and a wife. It's a holy kiss. It's an adornment, but it is also a commitment of heart. It is a showing of loyalty, because loyalty has first been shown this way. Do you know that God is calling you his bride? Now, I get it. Maybe some of the fellas are like, bride, we're fellas. I get that. But this is not talking about something that is literal here in the physical, but this is talking about a spiritual reality. Do you know that we find rest when we find him truly as our husband and him as the Lord that we follow? So I want to encourage you to begin to look at him as the Lord, your God, who delivered you out of bondage.